got it. I think I got it. I don't know if I should tell y'all. It's like I want to tell y'all, but I don't want to tell y'all. Like, I want it to wait. So y'all know how every YouTube channel has like a name for their subscribers. Like they have like, they call them the something squad or the whoop the whoop crew or whatever. Y'all, I'm going to call y'all. All right, so y'all are officially going to be called the KD fam. I actually changed it, while I was actually making this video to the KD fam. So that's what y'all going to be called. Yeah. That name may or may not change. I don't know if it's different. I don't know if it stands out enough, but it sits right with me. So that's what y'all going to be called. So let's start this again. What's up? It's your girl Queen, and welcome to Queen's Dominion. If you are new to this channel and this is your first time being here, thank you for clicking on this video first of all. So y'all, today we are back with the trauma series. This is again part 2, step 3 of the series. So y'all, I think I may have like 1 or 2 other videos after this. I know that if you've been seeing this on my Instagram, you've been seeing it on my social media, you probably like, what is the trauma series? Get into it, man. Go and watch all of my videos that I've recorded up to this point of the trauma series. It's basically me sharing my trauma story, the things that I've gone through in the past, and these are the steps that I took to getting through that trauma, getting over that trauma. Yes, I did have a therapist, but aside from that, I did do a lot of the work on my own, with the help of God, of course. So these are the steps that I took. Just a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed therapist. I am not a professional psychiatrist, none of that. I'm none of that. I'm literally somebody who's human, who messes up every single day, who is still healing, who is still growing, who is still learning who she is in the midst of all that. So these are just the steps that I took. You can use these steps. You don't have to use these steps, but I guarantee you, if you do, I know for a fact that they will work because they help me. I know that they're helping some members of the KD crew. You guys are dropping in my DMs and letting me know. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into it, man. I ain't gonna waste y'all time today. Y'all, I got a little bit of tea because it's just one of them days. Okay. All right, y'all. So again, this is step 3. Now, in part 2, I'm gonna go over the first 2 steps. But if y'all want to tune into part 1 again, go and watch those videos and come back to this video. I honestly recommend that you watch the other videos because, again, if you don't, then this step may or may not make sense. Or if you try to do this step without doing the previous steps, it's gonna throw you off and you're not really gonna be ready. Because this step right here is my favorite step. This step is gonna prove to me, it's gonna prove to you, and it's gonna prove to whoever it is out there that knows about your trauma, that doesn't think you've healed, that wants to see you fail, that wants to see you hurting. This is gonna prove just how much of the work you've actually done. If you've actually followed the steps that I set out for you guys to the T, it's gonna prove whether or not you've grown, whether you've truly forgiven, whether you're truly ready to move on, and whether you're truly ready to have the talk, y'all. That is the name of this step. This step is called the talk. I love this step because this step is gonna prove whether or not the little girl in you is still a little bit angry, or the little boy in you is still a little bit angry, still a little bit bitter, still a little bit, frustrated, and not quite ready to, boss up and really like own your story and really move on and forgive. This step right here is gonna show that. It's gonna show whether you're ready or not. At the end of this video, this is going to tell you whether or not you are ready to go and have the talk. Now, the talk is basically you getting ready. We're getting ready to pack you up to go and have the talk. The talk is with whoever you need to talk to basically make amends, to basically say, I forgive you, to basically open up and just tell them everything. Open up. Be open-hearted, be open-minded, go to that person, go to your mom, go to your dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, cousin, friend, co-worker, teacher, whoever caused or had anything, whoever contributed to your trauma, no matter when it happened, how it happened, it is time to go and talk to that person. Now, let me go ahead and just say this. If your trauma didn't come from a person, it came from an environment, it is time to go to that environment. But if it is a person, we're getting ready to pack you up to go talk to that person. Now, I'm I'm gonna talk to you guys about what you would do, or what you need to do if you are only going to an environment. If your trauma just happened at a particular place and nobody necessarily did anything to you or did anything that contributed to your trauma, and you don't need to talk to nobody, then I'll talk to you guys about what you need to do when it comes to an environment. But for those of you who actually need to go talk to a person, again, whoever it is, I don't care what the title was, I don't care. If they are still alive, it is not too late. It is time to move on. It is time to grow. It is time to heal, okay? So, again, as I'm going through these steps, if you get a little squirmish in your seat and you get a little anxiety and your heart start beating real fast as I'm saying this stuff, then you might need to go run a couple of my videos back, because you might not quite be ready. This step right here is for the big boys and girls. You feel me? This step right here is for the men and women, the kings and queens, okay? I'm just gonna put it like that. Little girls and little boys won't be opposed to having the talk. Men and women are ready to have the talk. Now, I don't care how old you are in age, you can still be a little girl and a little boy in your heart, in your mind, and in your spirit. I don't care. So, yes, if you're not ready to have the talk, there's some pieces of you, there's some parts of you that still needs to mature, okay? So, without further ado, let's get into it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the environment portion of this video out of the way. If you are the person that needs to go to an environment and not necessarily talk to a person, this is what you need to do. And an environment could be, your traumatic experiences could have happened in several areas. It could have happened just in one area. So I'm just gonna throw out a couple of examples out there to kind of give you guys an idea as to what I'm talking about. So a club, if your trauma happened in a club, you need to go. If it happened at your parents' house, you need to go. In your bedroom, you need to go, or try to go. If someone's already moved in the house burned down or whatever, at least go back to the street, sit across the street from it. If you're not able to quite get intimate in that space, or you no longer have access to that space where your trauma happened, that's okay. It doesn't hurt to sit across the street from it. It doesn't hurt to at least go into the same city as it. I know some people, me included, who have had traumatic experiences, and I don't even have to go particularly to the exact place that it happened. All I have to do is just go to the city, and automatically those memories start coming back up. So do that if you need to. If you need to go to just an empty parking lot and just sit down the street from where it happened, whatever. If it's an environment, you need to go. That could be a club, it could be a house, it could be a bridge, it could be a street, it could be a school, it could be a restroom, it could be a bedroom, it could be a store, it could be a grocery store, a gas station, wherever the traumatic experience happened. It could be your car or a car. Wherever the traumatic experience happened, I know for some of you, me included, now that I'm moving on from healing from my parents, I'm having to go through a season of spiritual healing. So for some of you, I know me included, your place might need to be a particular church. For me, I have some things that I need to deal with and I still need to confront when it comes to church. I've been having this battle with religion, knowing the difference between religion and spirituality, and knowing that spiritually I'm here, but religiously I don't even call myself religious anymore, strictly because of, my upbringing and my current lifestyle. It's just too complicated, too many words being twisted and moved around in the Bible, and that's my own little thing. Well, I'll share that story with y'all later on, but for right now, we're here for y'all. So for some of y'all, it could be a church. So if you need to go to that church, go to that church. Some people can have traumatic experiences in a church, from a church, whatever that you need to heal from. So even if it's a church, get there. Football field, soccer field, baseball field, basketball court, doesn't matter, go. Restaurant. So when you get to that place, sit there. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you sit there in silence. It doesn't matter if you play gospel music or you play some type of music while you're there. I recommend sitting in silence. When you sit in silence, you are forced, once again, like we talked about in a previous video, you are forced to listen to your thoughts when you sit in silence. When you listen to music, you're focused on the music, and that music can take your mood either every which way. So I don't recommend going to this place. I don't even recommend on the drive to the place. I don't recommend listening to trap. I don't recommend listening to too sad of music. Jazz is fine. Something that calms you. Therapeutic music. Let's talk about that. Yes, for some people, trap may be considered therapeutic, but in this case, we're just gonna chill on the trap. You can listen to trap when you leave, but for right now, you need to be it is very, very, very important that you are in the right mental space. And if listening to trap, I know for me, if I listen to trap, I'm about ready to, yeah. So I don't recommend that for this, on this particular day, okay? But if it is an environment, I recommend you go to that environment, get as close to that environment as you can. If you can get in the room, get in the space, that's perfect. But if not, that's fine. Just get near it as close as you can or in the surrounding area. So, sit in it. In one of my previous videos, I told y'all, when you sit in your trauma, there's so much power that you will gain from sitting in your trauma. A lot of people will try to drown out their trauma with music, or try to drown out their trauma with going partying every weekend or every night, or drinking, smoking. A lot of people try to drown out their trauma. When you go to this place, hopefully, if you've done all of the steps leading up to this step, then you have learned how to control your emotions. You have learned how to own them and not avoid them, and not, let distractions come in and tune them out. So when you go to the place, just sit there. Sit there. Let whatever emotions come. Let whatever thoughts come. Welcome your thoughts, welcome your emotions. Make it safe for you to be able to feel every single bit of it. It is very, very important. You cannot heal if you're not willing to feel. If you're not willing to even feel the emotions and you just always saying, I'm fine, I'm okay, we're past that at this point. We are past the, faking the funk and, putting up this facade like we're okay. You're not okay, okay? You're not. If nobody else is gonna say it, I will take that punch. I will be the person that hurts your feelings and say, you're not okay, okay? And it's okay to not be okay, all right? Now that we talked about the environment, that's all you basically have to do. You can't really, if you wanna talk to yourself out loud or pray, then do that in that environment. When it comes to an environment, you can't really do too much talking, but you can talk amongst yourself. You really, really can. You can talk amongst yourself. You can bring somebody along with you and talk to them about it. Somebody that you trust, somebody that won't judge you. You can bring them along with you and talk to them about it to get it off your chest. I advise you to bring somebody along that knows God. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. Or at least bring somebody along that's level-headed, like-minded, and somebody that you feel vulnerable with. Bring that person along. Don't bring along somebody who you know for a fact don't need to be there. If you know that person is, drama-filled, loves to fight, loves to argue, eggs you on whenever you get into, spats with people, that ain't the type of person you need in this environment right now. You need somebody who is like-minded, who is strong-willed, who has wisdom, and somebody who's really going to help you through this the right way. Don't bring along somebody that say, hey, can we stop to the store and get some alcohol before we go? No, that's another thing. Don't stop and get no alcohol. Don't stop and get no drugs, none of that, not even a cigarette. Don't do it. Let's go to this place. If you're going to an environment, let's approach this environment. Let's approach the person. If it's a person you're going to talk to, we're going to go to them as sober as we possibly can. That's our problem now. We always want to numb stuff with alcohol and drugs. Stop. At least for today, okay? At least for today. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't sniff nothing, don't swallow nothing. Don't. We're gonna go to them level-headed and sober, all right, and clear-headed. Now that we've gotten the environment out of the way, let's talk about the person. Now, again, you will know if you are ready to do this by the way you react to the things that I'm about to say. If you need to go talk to a person, just like going to that environment, if you're going to an environment and not a person, there are some things that we need to leave at the house, okay? Honestly, there's some things, if we need to leave it at the house, we probably need to, get rid of it all together, but baby steps, because you still have some growing to do even after you do this, okay? So, we're about to pack you up to get ready to go and talk to that person, okay? Even if you may be at a place right now after doing all of the steps where you're like, I don't really feel the need to talk to them no more. Like, we good. But the minute that person says something that triggers you, or the minute that person does something that triggers you, or that puts you back in that space, you're not good. I want to make sure that if you plan to keep that person in your life, that you guys have a healthy and thriving relationship. And you can't have that if you truly have not let go of the past and forgave them for it, okay? So, I don't care if you may feel like right now, I don't really feel like it's necessary to talk to them. It is. It really is. And you're not going, and again, just like my forgiveness episode, you're not going to talk to them for them. You're going to talk to them for you. It is one thing to forgive a person in private, but it is another thing to forgive them in public, to their face. It is one thing to talk to somebody else about the situation, but it's another thing to talk to the person that caused the trauma. It's another thing to talk to them. It's life-changing, and I advise that you do it. So, like I said before we go, we're gonna pack you up, but there's some things that got to stay to the house, and there's certain things that we need to make sure you have. There's certain things we don't need to make sure you have, that we need to take back out of the bag. Because I'm pretty sure if I was to ask y'all to go and talk to the person without watching this video, there's some things that you are gonna take to this conversation that it's not necessary. It's really not necessary. And again, with this video, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to help you heal, and I'm here to help you approach this person in the most positive, open-minded, clear-headed way, okay? Let's do it. Now, again, the person can be whoever the person is for you. The person could be a mother, father, sister, brother, coach, teammate, classmate, co-worker, daughter, son, cousin, aunt, uncle, grandparent, boyfriend, girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, because just because you in a relationship with somebody currently, that don't mean everything is all peaches and roses. Somebody could have, hurt you. Y'all could have had a little spat, maybe 2 years ago into the relationship, and you still haven't let it go. Yeah. This person can even be a best friend. I know some people have, experiences where they get into it with their best friend, and it can cause, trauma to that person. And a lot of people feel like, oh, me and her been rocking for forever, so we just, forget about it and brush it off and let it go. That's all fine and well, but just make sure that you truly have let it go, and there's no baggage that you're continuing to carry on in the relationship with your best friend, because eventually that stuff is gonna come out. And if it comes out, I would rather it come out in a major way where you and that other person are like, dang, I'm so glad we healed from that. Dang, I'm so glad we got past that. That was gonna ruin us, but we worked on it and we got through it. That's the type of reflection I want you to have for your relationship where you had trauma. I don't want you to have to bring it up and be like, oh, you remember the time when you did this and da-da-da-da-da, yeah, I didn't like that because I didn't understand that, and you did that to me and I don't understand why you did that, da-da-da-da. We're not gonna do that. All right, so first things first, pick the person. Pick the people. It could be more than one person, and if it's more than one person, you can either knock out all of it and have everybody come to a restaurant or come to a place all at once and y'all all talk about it, or if it's one person, you can just meet up with that one person. It doesn't matter. You can talk. If it's a bunch of people, you can talk to those people individually on your own time, on your own terms, or if it's one person, go and talk to that person. So right now, I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to count down from 10. In these 10 seconds, I want you to go ahead and figure out who the people are that cause your trauma that you need to set up an appointment with or a meeting with. I'm going to give you 10. Go ahead. You good? All right. Those people that you have listed, whether it's one person or 2 people, 3 people, those people that you have listed, that's who you about to go have your talk with. If you didn't get anxiety or a little bit, if your heart didn't start beating fast, or you didn't your heart didn't skip a beat when I just said that you need to go have a talk with those people, yeah, something wrong. Because when I realized that I had to go and talk to certain people to get some things off my chest and to let them know that I forgive them and this, that, and the third, yeah. Now that you've picked the person, it is time to set up a time with them. This is going to require you to make a phone call. This is going to require you to send a text message. This may even require you to send an email, because I know that even if you block them on the phone and on social media, there's always an email. Gotta love it. So yeah, get in touch with those people, that person, however you need to. Facebook DM, tell a friend to tell them that you need to talk to them, but make sure that middleman, if you are gonna say, hey, can you tell so and so to meet me here, I need to talk to him, make sure that it don't sound dramatic, because there's a big difference between, hey, do you know such and such still? Yeah, can you have them DM me or have them message me? I need to talk to them about something. And there's, or, hey, do you know what's her name? Yeah, do you know her? Yeah, have her give her my number, or give me her number, because yeah, we need to have a little moment. I need to talk to her, or I need to talk to him. I just need to holler at him real quick, spat with him. All this body language, all this rolling of the head, that's gonna let somebody clearly know that there's drama there's a problem, and that person is gonna do one of three things. They either not gonna give you that person number, they're gonna tell that person you wanna fight, or that person they're probably gonna egg it on, and it's not gonna end well for either one of you, because you're gonna probably end up arguing, cussing at each other, and fighting it. And that defeats the purpose of all of this. That defeats the purpose of this whole series. And if you go to this person, and the first thing y'all do is start throwing hands. What are we doing? You did not listen to me this whole trauma series, part 1 and 2. You heard nothing I said. If you go to this talk trying to fight or trying to argue, you heard absolutely nothing. And that is going to blow my mind. Okay, so we're not gonna do that. Get in touch with the person, and if you need to travel, if you no longer stay where that person stays, figure out how y'all are gonna get to each other, whether you gonna walk down the street to their house or whether you need to get on a plane. Your healing depends on it. So yes, I'm telling you to get on a plane to go and heal. Ta-da. It really shouldn't seem like a big deal, because your life depends on it. Your future depends on you getting on that plane and going to talk to this person. So yes, you're gonna book a flight to go and talk to your mom or your dad or whoever you need to go and talk to. Y'all can meet halfway if that person is really serious about y'all having a conversation. Meet halfway. Doesn't matter. When you are on the way to go and talk to this person, just like I said about those who need to go to a specific place, you still may need support even when you go to talk to a person. If you are going to talk to someone and you know for a fact that you're going to need emotional support, you're going to need just someone there. I don't know why, but for some people it helps just have someone there. That person doesn't have to talk. That person doesn't even have to get out of the car. But just knowing that person will be there when you're done with the conversation can really, really go a long way. It can really, really calm your nerves and make the situation a lot smoother. So if you need to, some people may just want to be private and go by themselves. If you're strong enough to do that, then do that. I'm very proud of you. But if you are not and you need to have someone go with you, pick the right person, y'all. Do not play with this. Don't pick somebody who's gonna make y'all go out for drinks afterwards to forget about it. Don't pick somebody who's gonna have y'all pulling up, blasting loud music, ready to fight. Don't pick somebody who clearly is not in the same space of forgiveness and open-mindedness and, just healing as you are. Pick like-minded people. Pick people who are going to help you feel safe, help you feel vulnerable, and that are going to encourage you to take the ladder, not stoop down to whatever level the person that caused your trauma is on, because you don't know what's going to happen when you approach this person. This person has not probably done the self-work. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Again, if you have made it to this point of the series, I pray that by now you know that the things that I'm about to say should not go with you to this conversation, should not go with you to this meeting. I'm just gonna list them and talk about them. And if you say why not to any of these, or if you think that for any reason these things should go, or it is okay to have this type of stuff with you when you go, again, go back to step 1 and we'll try this again later, because you ain't ready. Okay. All right, so these are the things that you do not need to take with you to this conversation. If you tried to pack it in the bag to go, we're gonna pull it on right on back out. We're gonna sit it over there in the corner, okay? Because it's not going. It can't go. Because if it do go, you're just gonna blow the whole thing. You're gonna blow the whole thing because you're already going left. You're already starting off on a bad foot. So here they are. Do not take pride to this conversation. If you feel like you need to take pride to this conversation, you clearly you care more about whether or not you're right than actually healing. It is not about, at this point, it is not about who's right, who's wrong. So guess what? Your pride gotta go. Ego. Your ego can't go. If you up here, that person is opening up to you and trying to tell you how they feel in their side of the story, and all you doing is rolling your eyes and, man, I ain't even do, man, you, nah. Let me tell you, no, you constantly trying to talk over the person, trying to figure out who can be louder than the other. No. So your ego cannot go. If you care more about, again, who's right and who's wrong, and you care more about, being, heard over the other person, both of y'all need to hear each other out. But if you care more about that stuff and actually getting down to the root of the problem and healing, it's gonna be a problem. So guess what? Your ego gotta go. Negative energy. What I just told y'all, negative energy cannot go, y'all. Drinking, smoking, anything that can induce that negative energy, it can't happen. Don't drink before you go. Don't smoke nothing before you go. Don't take nothing before you go. If you pop pills, don't take nothing before you go. Go to this conversation as level-headed as you possibly can. Now, I can't guarantee you that person that you're going to talk to didn't pop them something, didn't smoke them something, didn't drink something. I can't promise you. I'm not here for them. I'm here for you. You clicked on my video. I'm here to make sure you're on the right side of the track when you go to have this conversation. If that is the case, if that person, you can tell that person been drinking, smoking, whatever, I'm going to calmly ask you to try that conversation another day. Now, when you set up this meeting with that person, let me just drop this in here. When you set up that meeting with that person and you know that person drinks, smokes, or does drugs, whatever, try your best to politely ask that person, and please come to the conversation with an open mind. We're gonna both hear each other out, respect each other, whatever. Try to politely tell that person, don't drink, don't smoke. Just come to it with a level head, a clear head. All right. So yeah, negative energy, gotta go. If you are trying to go to the conversation and bring defense, what for? I've had conversations with people who were more focused on defending themselves than actually getting to the root of the problem. When you talk to people like that, it's like hitting a brick wall. Like you're getting nowhere. Like you just keep talking and they just want to stop. No, I didn't do that. I only did that because it doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter why you did this, why they didn't do this, the whys, the whens, the hows. It matters, but it's not more important than you actually getting down to the root of the problem. So do not be defensive or go into this conversation trying to defend yourself. At one point in this relationship, you didn't need to defend yourself. At one point in this relationship, you felt just as safe, just as open, just as free as all can be. So don't come to this conversation trying to be defensive. If you are coming to this conversation and you have it seems like everything they saying is wrong, or everything that's coming out their mouth, you got something to say back, or you got something to throw back at them. That's not what this is about. That's not a healthy exchange of words. Like that, if that person say something, you say, oh, well, I did this because of this. Stop trying to prove why you did stuff. Just accept the fact that you did it. I told y'all earlier in this conversation or in this series that yes, the trauma may have happened to you, but at some point you have to own your story. You have to own the things that you may have done on your end. It's not one-sided. It's not. Because at some point you have to own your story. It becomes your responsibility. At some point you have to stop feeling sorry for yourself and own your part in it. So being defensive, gotta go. If you are trying to play the blame game, cut it out. What I just say? What I just say? It is not about placing blame. It is not about whose fault it was. It's no longer about that. You got that out your system when you went and sat in your feelings on your own. You know whose fault it was. You know how the person made you feel. You know what happened. Okay, boom. You are not going to get to the right side of this conversation by constantly pointing out the things that person did over and over and over and over and over. It's not gonna work. Yes, I told you to come to this conversation and let that person know what they did once. Say it one time. One good time. That's it. You keep constantly throwing it back up in that person's face and saying, oh, but you did this. You won't listen to nothing I've said. You won't. Don't come to this conversation trying to place blame. So placing blame, gotta go. If you come into this conversation and you know for a fact that you're not truly ready to forgive, heal, and move on and let go of what happened, don't even go to the conversation, bro. Do not go to the conversation. And I'm not saying that you need to be fully healed or you need to have fully forgiven them, but you need to at least have started. The process needs to have started. Because maybe after the conversation, that may be just the conversation that you need to get you to that place. But do not go to this conversation and you still have the same mindset that you had when you watched my very first video at the very first step. Go to this conversation with intention. If you are not going to this conversation ready to heal, let go, and forgive, you're not ready. You're not ready. You don't have to be all the way there, but you at least need to have started the process wholeheartedly, not that halfway stuff. So being honest and open with ourselves is definitely needed when it comes to this. So not being ready to heal, forgive, and let go, oh, that's gotta go. Another thing, not being willing to extend grace. Y'all know I had to, put that one in there because that one is very, very important. Like I said before, you did not, even if this happened to you when you were a kid and you could not have control, this was out of your control, what happened to you, at some point you have to own the fact that it's yours. It's your story, it's your past, okay? Yes, there was nothing you could have done then, but guess what? If you're watching this video, there's something you can do now. And so with that being said, I'm no longer gonna feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. If you're watching this video, then you're mature enough to at least know that it is time for you to let this crap go. So with that being said, I'm no longer feeling sorry for you. In part one, I was, oh, woe was me. I'm so sorry this happened to you, this, that, and the third. Now I need to talk to the big girl and the big boy watching this video. I need to talk to the king and queen that I know you are watching this video. And I hope that you've gotten to that stage. When you give someone grace, y'all, it's not saying that what they did was okay. It's not saying that what they did was right. It is simply saying that, yes, you did this for me, or yes, you are one jacked up individual, but guess what? I forgive you anyway. I love you still. I love you anyway. That is what grace is. Grace is giving someone the freedom to be who they are and not holding it against them. That is what grace means to me. God gives us grace each and every day. We are some jacked up. Hear me when I say, come closer. We are some jacked up individuals. God loves us anyway. God chooses to forgive us anyway. He chooses to watch over us anyway. And if you guys knew how much grace God gave you on a regular day basis, then you giving this one person grace, or you giving this person grace because of one thing they did should not be an issue. But again, that's for the big girls and boys. I can't force you to extend grace to somebody. If you're not willing to forgive somebody, you're darn sure not willing to extend grace to them. Grace is given to those who need it but do not deserve it. Okay? I'm not saying that the person deserves it, but guess what? You don't deserve the grace that God gives you every day. So put yourself in that person that you're going to talk to's shoes. If you had done what that person did to you, wouldn't you want grace? Wouldn't you want someone to forgive you? And don't look at me at this video and be like, but I ain't them. I won't ever be them. Don't ever tell me to put myself in their shoes, because what they did was up. I get it. I know that. But that is how you have to think about grace. You have to put yourself in that person's shoes. If you had done the terrible thing, whatever it was, if you had done to you what that person did to you, wouldn't you want someone to forgive you? Wouldn't you want someone to let you get out your side of the story, tell your emotions, and extend grace to you? Okay. That's all I'm going to say on that. So if you're not willing to extend grace, that is going to make this conversation a whole lot harder. I'm not saying it's a must, but it will take this conversation a long, long way. Extending grace will take this conversation a long way, I guarantee you, and it will help a whole lot. When you extend grace, you understand that that person is not perfect. You understand that, whatever high expectation you have for that person, drop it all. Drop all expectation for that person. You will understand that that person is only human and they messed up. That's what happens when you give grace to somebody. They may not deserve it, but they need it. So, not giving grace, that ain't gonna work over here, at least not for me. So, gotta go. Do not go to this conversation approaching them from anything other than grace and love. If you're not ready to approach this conversation in love, you do not need to go. And I'm not saying you need to still be in love with the person. I'm not saying you still need to romantically love the person, or you still need to say, oh, I love you so much. No. You need to go in this conversation with the love of God. And what that means is, I'm not saying you and this person have to be best friends after this. I'm not saying you and this person have to still be in communication after this. That's not the type of love I'm talking about. I'm talking about you need to go in this conversation with the type of love that God gives us each and every day. Okay? When you go to this conversation with love, you go to this conversation open. Your heart is open. Your mind is open. You're ready to hear the person out. You're going to respect the person. What is love? What does the Bible say love is? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not boast. It is not envious. That is what love is. Okay? So if you're not ready to go to this conversation in love, I'm sorry. It's going to make this conversation a lot harder. So not bringing love to the conversation, gotta go. If you are trying to go to this conversation knowing darn well you ain't did the work, you trying to hurt yourself. At this point, I'm convinced. If you just trying to up and go and talk to this person out of the blue, and you haven't mentally, spiritually, emotionally prepared yourself, what are you doing? You want to hurt yourself at this point. I'm fully convinced. You have to do the work, y'all. This is not something that you should take lightly or you should take as a joke. Because you can end up going to talk to that person and things could end very, very badly. So if you have not done the work and you trying to go to this conversation, go sit down somewhere. You ain't ready yet. Go sit down. Unpack that bag and go sit down. You ain't ready. You're not. I don't care what you say. You're not. If you are trying to go to this conversation and you trying to play the victim, come on, man. Come on. Yes, I understand that the traumatic experience happened to you, but you are not the only one that was involved in this situation. Again, you don't know what that person was going through when that traumatic experience happened to you. You don't know what drugs they were on. You don't know what their mindset was. You don't know what battles they were facing individually or internally. They were probably going through stuff, and it reflected, their actions were a reflection of their trauma. Don't go to this conversation thinking that for 1 second that person doesn't have trauma of their own. And their trauma could or could not have anything to do with you. But I'm saying, be open. You have to be open when you go to this conversation. Don't go talk to this person and think for 1 second that you're the victim and try to play victim. Both of y'all need to respect each other and let each other say what y'all have to say. Because who knows? That person could be hurting too, and you don't even know, because all you focused on is what happened to you and how you were hurt. Again, this conversation is for the big boys and girls. And once again, I'm not negating your feelings. I'm not negating your emotions. I'm not trying to downplay or water down what happened to you at all. At all. But if you're going to talk to this person, you can't just, the whole conversation can't just be about you. The whole conversation can't just be about pointing fingers and placing blame and, oh, you did this, and oh, you a piece of shit. You can't. That isn't gonna help you in any way. It might stroke your ego, but guess what? We're not going there with our ego, right? It's gonna hurt that person. And one thing we're not gonna do, one thing I don't want you to do, is go there and hurt that person thinking that that's gonna make you feel better. It's not. It's not. So go there understanding, go there open. Do not try to play the victim. Anybody, if we're trying to play the victim, go and put it up on out the bag, it can't go. Foul language. If you pull up on this person or these people and the first 12 words that come out of your mouth are cuss words, I don't care what nobody says. Cussing may seem cool, cussing may seem fun, it may seem sexy, it may seem cute, but in real life, cussing is, I don't even know. I wouldn't say that cussing is a facade and cussing is a way to mask your real emotions, and cussing is a way for you to escape from who you really are. But curse words don't do nothing but add flavor, if you will, to a conversation. If you listen to some of your favorite comedians, what they do, cuss, right? And the cussing adds what? Adds a little bit more oomph to it. You can't lie. I agree. When you cuss, when you talking to somebody and you say curse words, it gives it a little extra pop. It gives it a little extra flair. But at the end of the day, cussing is not what kings and queens do. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. And I'm still working on it myself, because I done turned into a little cussing robot myself. I'm working on it. But at the end of the day, it is my personal opinion that kings and queens don't feel the need to curse to get their point across. The classiest, most respected people in the game, whether that's a music artist, an actor, a comedian, whoever, those people have boundaries, and there's just certain things that they will not do, and that's cussing. If you talk to some of the old heads of this generation, like Michael Jackson, or if you could talk to some of the most iconic people of this generation that have ever lived or walked this earth, like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, like all of the greats, Beyonce, like all of the greats, right? Those people, you will rarely ever, if ever, I don't know if they have ever gone on social media or gone on TV spitting out cuss words like they sunflower seeds. That's just that on that. And I could honestly make a whole video on that, because I feel the way about cussing, and again, I do it myself, so I'm not gonna go ahead and just own mine too. So point blank, because I feel like I ran off on a tangent. My point is, do not go to this conversation cussing. Do not cuss at this person. Cussing doesn't do nothing but add fuel to the fire of the conversation that's already heated. It's probably already gonna be awkward. The minute you start cussing is the minute that person is gonna get turned up on you. And I don't know what that person's version of turned up may be. Some people's you cuss at some people, they start fighting you. You cuss at some people, they gonna cuss you back out. cuss at some people, they start fighting. You cuss at other people, they start cussing you out back. You cuss at some people, they go to the glove compartment to get God knows what, or go to their trunk, or go in their house and get God knows what. Do not go to this conversation on some rah-rah stuff. That's dangerous, and it's careless, and it's reckless, and it's immature. Go to this conversation being the best version of you. Show this person that you have grown. Show this person that you have matured. Show this person that you are not the same person Show this person that you're not the same person that you were whenever that traumatic experience happened to you. If you go in there cussing, I guarantee you, I know for a fact, I don't even have to be there. I know for a fact if you go in this thing cussing, that person's gonna cuss you out back, and it's just not gonna end well at all. And then last but not least, don't go to this conversation not being genuine. If you aren't ready to be honest and open and transparent with this person when you go to talk to them, what is the point? You might as well could have kept your distance. You might as well should have kept faking it. Pretending like y'all good. Pretending like nothing happened. Go to this conversation not only being the best version of yourself, but being authentic in your truth. Walk in your truth. Sit in your truth. Own your story. Own your truth. Own it. Be genuine. Don't fake it. You spent your whole life faking up to this point. Look where it's gotten you. You may be successful. You may, think you moved on from it. But if you moved on from it, you wouldn't be sitting here preparing to go and talk to this person. That would have been done already. So go to this conversation, not only the best version of you, but the most authentic. Now that I've told y'all those 11 things that you don't need to put in your bag, let me give you some stuff to put in your bag, okay? All right. Here are some things that you need to put in your bag. You need to pack humility. You need to pack positive energy. You need to pack security. That's being secure in yourself, being secure in your words, being secure in your story, and also being secure in your emotions as well. You need to pack focus. You also need to pack and know that you have done the work. You need to pack confidence. Now, I'm going to talk about a few of those things that I told you to just pack, okay? Now, you also need to go to this conversation unassuming. And by that, I mean, don't go to this conversation thinking that you know everything. Because you don't. You know your side. You know what happened to you as a result of the action, as a result of the event. You don't know what the other person is feeling. Don't go to that conversation assuming that you do. You don't know what that person was going through. You don't know what that person's mindset was. That person's mind could have been in the cloud somewhere on drugs or drunk or whatever. Just in a bad space emotionally. That person could have lost a loved one and never told you or something. Had a bad breakup, had a bad day, something. Give that person a chance. Don't go to this conversation assuming, thinking that you know everything. You only know your side. The only thing you can own and know for sure is what you perceived. Is what you saw, what you felt. Don't go to this conversation trying to tell that person how they feel, trying to tell that person why they did it. It's not gonna help. Go to this conversation open. When you go to this conversation with positive energy, by that I mean cry it out if you need to. I think the clearest after I've cried. Take deep breaths before you walk in the building or before you walk up to the person or before you even get in your car to go. Take some deep breaths, listen to positive music, uplifting music, gospel, R&B if you want to. Just make it a loving, environment before you go. All right, another point that I want to talk to you guys about is expecting the unexpected. I said a little bit of it in the beginning when I was talking about a few of those steps, but I'm gonna say it again. Do not go to this conversation assuming that things are going to go the way you want them to go. This conversation may not be this end-all be-all after this, but at least you can say that you did it and that you tried. I'm not saying to keep going back to this person and keep trying to have this conversation. Have this conversation once. Attempt to have this conversation once. This conversation, I don't want y'all to think for a second that this conversation is necessary, because in some cases, going to talk to that person may be darn near dangerous. So I'm not saying by any means that it is absolutely necessary to talk to the person, but if the person is open to it, if you reach out to that person and they're open to talking, take it. But if you see that they're not, or you see that it's not going to end well, don't do it. But 9 times out of 10, if the person is willing to at least meet you, literally and figuratively, in the middle, then it's, that's something. That's showing that the person is ready to talk. The person is open to talking. Okay? So, yes, do not go to this conversation expecting the conversation to go or trying to steer the conversation in the way that you want it to go. You can't control nobody in this conversation but you. Don't go to this conversation trying to tell that person to shut up, let you talk. That's an aggressive tone. Your body language ain't right. Go to this conversation respectful. The only thing that you need to demand out of this conversation is respect. That is it. Don't try to make that person love you after this. Don't try to make that person fall in love with you after this. Don't try to make that person cry. Don't try to make that person feel the hurt that you felt. Don't intentionally do any of that. The only thing, and I'll say this one last time, the only thing you should demand or expect from this conversation is respect. Expect respect. That's it. For one, you don't know what work that person may have been doing on their end. That person could be in therapy. You don't even know because you never asked. That person could have somebody that they've confided in, that they've been talking to about y'all situation or what happened to them. You don't even know. Don't go in this conversation assuming that that person just been going about life and going through life and not have done any work. That person could have very well done the work. Don't go in this conversation think that you know this person's level of preparation for this conversation or this person's level of maturity or growth. You'd be surprised how probably 9 times out of 10 this person possibly could have grown. People change, grow, and evolve every single day. So never think that you have someone figured out. Don't go in there expecting an apology. Don't go in there expecting positive energy to be returned to you. You go in there with positive energy and pray that you have so much positive energy that it just knocks whatever negative energy they had from the moment you say, hey, all the negative energy they had, just pray that it just flies out the window. Don't go in here assuming that this person is going to be, all positive and all uplifting and ready to talk all the way. And, you never know. But that's the chances that you should be willing to take if it means you healing in the end, all the way. If it means you get some type of closure, clarity, or healing. And last but certainly not least, do not go to this conversation expecting them, to be the same person. The person that you saw or were with or encountered during your trauma could be 2 totally different people. Don't view this person during this conversation through the lens of who they used to be. Even if that's all you know, do not try your best, again, to give this person grace. Don't go in this conversation assuming that this person is still the same person. Like, oh, I know what she gonna do. She gonna do this, and she gonna say she ain't do this. She gonna start cussing, and then she gonna start rah-rah-rahing in my face, and then I'm gonna end up punching her, and that's gonna be that. It shouldn't go that way because you have the power to steer this conversation, to set a positive, healthy foundation for the conversation first. You have that right. You have that power. If you feed into the negativity, both of y'all just gonna be 2 negative Nancy's then. Or 2 negative Nates if you're a man. I'm telling you, nothing negates negative energy but positive energy. That's the only thing that's going to tune out the negative energy is positive energy. Negative and negative ain't going to create positive. It's not. Remember that when you go to this conversation is about you at the end of the day. I know that I've told you to allow them to talk and allow them to get their words out and do that because you never know what that person is going to say that is going to set you completely free. That person could say one thing that you thought you had figured out that happened, that it really didn't go down that way. Don't cut the person off. Let them talk. Let them get their words out because you never know. They can say something in that conversation that's going to completely set you free. Okay? But remember that this conversation is about you. It's about you walking away feeling better, feeling more healed, and feeling like you're ready to let go and move on. If you walk away from this conversation and that person is hurt or about the things you say, whatever happens to that person after this conversation, guess what? It has nothing to do with you. I don't care if that person is a parent that's still in your life. I don't care who that person is to you. If that person walks away from this conversation hurting or crying or upset, let them go. It is time for them. They have to deal with their trauma and their healing on their own. Don't try to walk over there and be like, oh, I'm sorry, did I hurt you? I didn't mean to say that. No, mean it, stand on what you say, and however it affects them. I'm not saying go there intentionally planning to hurt them, but get your truth out. And if your truth in the process makes that person feel away, that has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with you. My job is to make sure you walk away feeling better about yourself, feeling better about your future, and ready to move on. I can't control what that other person does. I can't. You can tell them to watch my trauma series, and I pray that it helps them too. And y'all might have to end up talking again once they get to this step. But for right now, I'm worried about you. So don't worry about what happens to this person, or if this person even understood what you said. Get it out, and I promise you, even if they don't listen then during that conversation, and you end up having to walk away or drive off or leave, trust me, they gonna play back in their head at some point. I don't care if it's a couple days from that moment, a week, a month, or a year. That person is gonna play back in their head what you said to them, and it's gonna resonate. And how they deal with it after that is up to them. But make sure you walk away knowing that you said all you needed to say, and you walk away the same way you approached it, on a positive note. Whether that person walks away forgiving you with clarity or, feeling healed, that has nothing to do with you. That's their walk, that's their journey they have to take on their own. You did your work. Did your work, and I pray that when you go to the conversation that reflects, that shows. All right, y'all, that is all. That is it. I'm sorry if I got a little too serious on y'all. I'm just that serious about your healing, okay? So if y'all enjoyed this video, I know this video was pretty long, but there was a lot I needed to say, and I hope that I didn't bore you guys too much. Make sure you smash that like button, beat me to the comments, and hit that subscribe button to join the KD crew. All right, I hope that y'all are ready to go and have the talk. I can't wait to hear the testimonies in my DMs and the comments about how the talk went. I hope and pray that it went well. I'm sending you positive energy right now. I'm sending you positive vibes, and I hope that the vibe is right. I hope that that person is just as open-hearted and just as open-minded as you when they go into this conversation, and I pray that you both, it may not happen, but I pray that you both walk away with some type of understanding, with some type of healing, love, and clarity after this. All right, I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, peace.